Like we always said, if you ask to make a commitment at the age of 20, and you say, I don't want to make that commitment, only because for the simple reason that I'm too young to die, I want to live a little bit longer, what you did, you did already. Why don't you live for the people? Why don't you struggle for the people? Why don't you die for the people?
You ain't never gonna see my name in a history book. I won't be the person on the podium at a rally, voice full of fire, thousands of people pumping their fists in response to my words. If you see me at all, you'll just catch a glimpse of me in the background, a blurred face on a grainy black and white newsreel. I remember my mama didn't know what to make of me. I went off to high school one morning looking the same as always. Crisp white blouse I'd ironed the night before, pleated skirt, hair permed and every strand in place. But by the time Mama got off work, exhausted from taking folks' orders at the diner all day, she was greeted by the sight of me. Perm cut out, tiny afro framing my face like a black halo, leather jacket rustling softly. Good Lord, girl, what have you done to yourself? You done turned yourself into one of those black militants. Despite what my mama may think, it wasn't the Black Panther Party who recruited me into the movement. It was the Oakland Police Department. Summer day, heat heavy and oppressive, young man driving down the street, sirens screaming on the block pulled me out of my home like so many others. We poured onto the street, congealed around the stopped car like clotting blood. Red lights flashing, blinding us, the cops' faces twisted with anger. They grabbed that brother, dragged him through the car window, slammed him onto the hood, rammed his head into the door, kicked him, stomped him, beat him with billy clubs while we screamed, all of us together, in one voice, from one throat. I couldn't stand to watch. I couldn't leave. I dropped my eyes down to stare at the ground, and that's when I saw the rock. My hand moved on its own, a perfect arc, right into the cop's chest. Another rock thrown, not by me this time. Another. It was like being in the middle of a meteor shower. You got a great arm, sister, a voice behind me rumbled. I spun around, brother with the skin the color of bruises when they start to fade. But throwing rocks at the cops isn't going to change the material conditions of our people. It's time we stop reacting and start building. If you're interested, come down to our office sometime. We can help you learn strategy to go along with that great arm. I was at the office the next morning an hour before it opened. Full of misdirected righteous rage, I sighed impatiently as the officer of the day gave me a stack of books, told me when the mandatory political education classes were. Yeah, that's cool and all, but when do I get my gun? The officer of the day, a man-child at least a year younger than me, grinned. Sister, you better get used to the feel of books and spoons in your hands, 'cause they're going to be much more familiar than the legal guns we have for self-defense. The key creaked in the rusty lock, and I pushed the door open to the church basement. Before I could even turn on the lights, Mrs. Johnson was right behind me, carrying her maid's uniform under her arm. 65 years old, grandmother to all. She said she didn't want to have any of this black power foolishness around her when her grandson joined the party. But my second week as a Panther, I was in the kitchen of the breakfast program trying for the life of me to cook up grits without burning the entire bottom of the pan, and failing. Ain't nobody ever taught you to cook a proper batch of grits. The steel in Mrs. Johnson's voice was tempered by love. I know y'all are giving free food away to the babies, but I can't hear one more child talk about how bad y'all's food is. So move over and let me show you how it's done. That was 2 years ago, and every weekday since then, Mrs. Johnson showed up at 5:45 a.m. to cook before taking her hour bus ride to clean white folks' homes. She left just as the kids began to trickle in. We would usually feed 150 before we were done. Y'all know how many eggs it takes to feed 150 hungry kids? One little boy, Miles, I swear I thought he had a tapeworm. Such a little thing, mostly big eyes and knobby elbows. But he would come back for seconds and sometimes thirds. Then came the day when I saw him lovingly wrapping up a biscuit, sausage, omelet in a napkin, carefully putting it in his pocket. He started to cry when he saw me watching him. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to steal. It's for my mama. We don't have any food at home. Please don't be mad at me. Please." I just stared at his pleading face. "Baby, this is your food. You can't steal what's yours. You let me make you up a plate to take to your mama, and you tell her if she wants to come down here, this is her food too." The smile that split Miles's face and the feel of his arms as he gave me the biggest hug his little body could manage is something I carry with me every day. And when things get too heavy and hard to bear, when it feels like we ain't got a chance in hell of making a real change, I feel Miles's arms and I know everything. Every moment of exhaustion and pain and frustration and fear was worth it. Don't let them tell it like things was perfect, 'cause they sure weren't. Many days it felt like we were at war with the whole government. Police, FBI, prosecutors, judges, IRS, CIA, state troopers. I mean, who were we, really? Just a group of kids ourselves who were scared of seeing our people, our parents, our Mileses suffer. We made our mistakes. Did we ever? Mistakes bright as bullseyes. Mistakes that left bruises and drew blood. But we tried our best. So please, please look on us with eyes of compassion, forgiveness, understanding. Because we used all we knew, but we didn't know all we should. We were human, nothing more, but certainly nothing less.